The club actually started in Monkstown Flats 15 or 16 years ago. In the flats there was an epidemic of joyriding, where lads were robbing cars and they were just setting them on fire and just trying to get the police in so they could stone the police. There was a drug problem in the area as well, you know, which it brought a lot of people down. And there was a guy, Tommy Rappel, he's a local fella, you know, he's lived in Fitzgerald Park most of his life, his married life. But just one day Tommy thought enough was enough, we have to get something going for the community. Tommy was always into the boxing, you know, he was always into the boxing. And I think Tommy thought, well look, at my sport is boxing, I'm getting a boxing club going. If people can get a room or whatever, you know, to run a youth club or community club, whatever, I should be able to get it to run a boxing club, and it was all taken from there. And then there was John Paul Kinsley, he's the manager of the club, you know, and like Paulie done a lot of boxing over the years as well, and boxed for Ireland and all that. Paulie got involved.
He went to the local resource centre, which was on the bottom floor of the block of flats, the derelict block of flats. There was, on the bottom floor was the resource centre, and he had a creche. So Tommy went to them and asked them, look, you know, would there be any place where he could open up a boxing club to keep the kids, you know, off the streets, and just to help them from not getting into trouble, you know. And you know, if they could pick up you know, a few life skills and stuff along the way, you know, he would have been delighted with that. And that's basically where the seed started. They gave him two derelict flats, and so he rounded up a couple of lads then. And I had done a lot of boxing, you know, in my time, you know, and so he came to me, and he came to a good few other local fellas, and he just said, look lads, you know, I'm planning on setting up a boxing club. Can you give me a dig out here? So we all chipped in, and Tommy had started already knocking walls down and everything else within the flats, you know. But just to give you an indication where we were, like this was someone's living area in a derelict block of flats. We on the third floor was one flat. So Tommy knocked the walls down into another flat, so we had two together. But you know, we had our office. It was a kitchen, so you would have had a toilet on the walls and, you know, wood chip and stuff like that. And then in the other part of the flat, I think there was 6 bags we hung from the wall, and we had a ring. It was just basically rope around 4 walls, and it was, at the time, it was amazing. Like this is where people lived, and you know, on the wall was wallpaper, wood chip, you know, and yeah. You know, we had this boxing club, and this is where it all started. Every night, you know, we started off like I think there was 15 boys, and they were all ranged from 14 up to about 17, and that's basically that was basically the beginning of Monkstown Boxing Club. You know, the resource centre. They gave us a great help at the start. They were brilliant. They were really, really brilliant. Anything we asked, they done everything they could to give us a dig out, and they got the council involved, and they started to come on board with us as well. We officially opened up April 2004. Jim Rock came down, and he cut the ribbon for us. Because Jim is well known in the pro game and the amateur game, you know, and would be at that time was an Irish boxing legend, you know, and still is. So he came down, and fair play to him. He cut the ribbon for us.
They took him there. Then I came along. There's another guy, James Doyle, as well. You know, he's the head coach, and there's Out the Single and Tony Bryan, and there's a few of us here.
I wasn't here from the very start, but JP asked me, I met him out on the road one day, and he asked me to come down and help at the club. There wasn't no other coaches around, and he needed a lift out to Crumlin, I think it was, and I had a car. So went up to the club with JP. There was a few kids from the area up there, threw them into the car. Didn't know nothing about coaching, knew a small bit about boxing, and went over to Crumlin, done corners, didn't know what I was doing, but just got by with the kids, and that was my first night in Monkstown Boxing Club.
What we do is, you know, they might be training 4 nights a week. You might not be able to make it on the 4 nights, but you get down what night you can, you know. We rotated between us and all, and the club is going great. Well, this is Monkstown Community Facility, and what happened was they had to knock down the block of flats where the club was first opened, right? So in order for them to get the club out of there, they had to give them a new premises. So we ended up getting this place, yeah.
So we were in the flats for, I think it was about 4 years, because this place then opened, the Monkstown Community Centre then opened in 2008. We have everything we want here, you know, and like now we do, you know, we've 2 rings, we've space for bags, we've space for all the boxers, you know. We're working on changing rooms and that at the moment. You know, what we had back then was our own key. You know, we could come in, we could come and go whenever we wanted. We could organise sparring sessions on a Sunday morning, we could organise, you know, on Sunday evening. When we're in a community centre, we're restricted that way, you know. But in fairness, you know, we've gone on great here. You know, we like in 2016, like we were Ireland's best club. You know, we brought back 12 All-Ireland champions to this, you know, small club, like, you know. So the club at the moment, right now at the moment, is absolutely flying, you know, and it's fantastic to be involved in something like this, you know. Only there we were at the, you know, All-Ireland Schoolboy Championships there, and one of the local boys here, Mallow Davis, he, you know, he 3 very hard scraps in the national stadium, and he came through all 3 of them, and now he's an All-Ireland champion, you know. And that's for a 12-year-old boy, you know, that's from you know, Monkstown Farm. That's a life-changing thing for him, you know. It's phenomenal. Yeah. So it's not just about, you know, when you come in, it's just boxing only. You know, there's a ton of other stuff that's going on here. You know, and like I was saying, you know, we have the coaches here that you know, we're not here just for success. And as one of our coaches always says, James, he always says to the kids, look lads, you know, we never ask you to win, and that's not what we're here for. We don't ask kids to go in and win. What we ask them to do is just come into the club, enjoy themselves, and go in and try and perform. But the one thing with the boxing is, and you know, we've all seen it within the club, especially through, you know, the kids that we brought in from 2004. We still have boys who are still here from 2004, like, and one of them now is you know, is Kenneth Doyle, and he's is senior Irish champion and an under 22 Irish champion, you know. And he is like, it's like a motto for the club, because when he started out as a, you know, an 11-year-old competing, he didn't have instant success. You know, he was beaten in the Dublin Leagues final, he was beaten in the Dublin Championship final, and that happened to him 12, 13, 14, 15. Same thing happened to him every year. But the coaches kept saying to him, listen son, stick it out, just stick it out. And then, you know, as he started to progress, you know, we all started picking up things as well. You know, me, Tommy, James, you know, Bricks, Otis, Gally, we all started to learn, you know. And eventually then when kind of he was 16, you know, and he goes along then, his last chance, and he won the Dublin Leagues. His last chance, he won the Dublin Championships. And a lot of the boys, when he was 11-year-old, that had beaten him in the leagues and Dublin Championships, by the time he was 16, they were gone, you know. So he kept going at it, and then eventually now he's 18 years of age now, and he's an Irish champion and a senior champion and an Irish under 22 champion. And it won't be long before he's going to be enrolled in the high performance program, you know, in the National Sports Campus in Abbottstown, you know, that's going to be phenomenal for him, you know. How the Monkstown Box Cup started off was myself and the coaches sat down, and we wanted to see how far are we away from competing against the best in, you know, Ireland, England, Scotland and Wales. So what we decided to do was we sat around, and myself, James, Tommy, Otis, Gally, you know, we all sat around, and Tony Bryan as well. We sat around and we decided, okay, look lads, what we're going to do is we're going to run a box cup. So this, and it'll only be for schoolboys, okay? And that was 6 years ago. So we ran it just for school. So there was 4 age groups. There was 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and 14-year-olds. And how it started out was, so we sent out invitations to clubs all over Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales. And then they all got back to us then and said, look, we would like to attend the Box Cup. And then all of a sudden then, clubs started to contact us saying that they wanted to attend, the very first Monkstown Cup. And we had some of the best clubs, like we had Repton from England, a huge club. We had Berkeley from Newcastle, another, massive club. We had, Olympic Galway, which, a massive Irish club, St. Michael's at Toy, Crumlin, in Dublin, Dublin Docklands. We had all these big clubs that wanted to take part in this Box Cup. So when it started off, there was 75 boxers from Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales. That was the very first year, and we had one ring. It was all done on one ring, and it was the quarterfinals on a Friday, semi-finals on a Saturday, and the finals on a Sunday, and then everyone went home. So then, all them clubs wanted to return, plus a lot of other clubs. So the second year came along, and there was 300 boxers. And then we had clubs from Sweden. There was clubs getting in contact with us from Germany. They came over, and then it just started to get legs, And we were up in the Holy Child School in Sallynoggin, and they were absolutely brilliant to us. They gave us the full use of the sports hall up there, and they have a huge canteen and stuff. So all our parents of boxers that are in the club, they wanted to get involved, And we said, this is going to be brilliant. So what we started doing was, they came to us. They actually came to us with the ideas and said, look, lads, why not, put on grub from where we can feed all the boxers, where we can, we can make this a massive event, So we ran with it, and in fairness to all the volunteers, like they all got stuck in, And that was one of the things that made the boxers want to come back then for the third year, was the hospitality that they got. It was brilliant. It just started to get legs and just started to grow. So the third year then, we had 500 boxers. The fourth year, and that was done with 3 rings. The fourth year then, I think we had 500 again, but there was more countries getting involved then. So we were starting to get clubs from Norway, we were starting to get clubs from Belgium, Denmark, France, all these countries. But the thing was they all wanted to come here because the competition was absolutely brilliant. The fourth year was the last year up in the school. We had 4 rings, and we had, I think there was 700 boxers, and so it was a brilliant event, and it went off exceptionally well. But it was just, we had outgrown the venue, so we decided, look, lads, we have 2 options here. We can, cut the entries to 500, stay in the school, and be happy and joyous as we were, and we'd still, still run the Box Cup. Or we can, go check out a bigger venue and let's see how far this can go, And so we went up to, we had a look around a few venues, We went up to DLR Lockhamstown, and it was the perfect fit, absolute perfect fit, So we ran the 5th Box Cup there. There was over 700 boxers, 5 rings. Like when the boxers were boxing there, like the boxing was going from 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the evening, and constant flow of people. Like at any one time there was 2,000 people spectating, watching. Like, and for a young kid that's an 11-year-old boy to box in front of this crowd, it's magic, And the funny thing is when I go back to why we started it out, to see how far our club was away from the best clubs in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. We're actually up there with them, we were competing with them, and in the Box Cups now, like in the Monkstown Cup now, like I actually think the level has even gone further now, So in terms of membership with Monkstown Boxing Club now, at the moment, I'd say we've over 200 members, and that ranges from, okay, so we have we have our boxing class, all our boys that are competing, boys and girls that are competing. They come in on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday, 6 p.m. And then they also do a strength and conditioning class on a Thursday too. We have then on a Thursday, we have a beginners class. This is for any boys that are boys and girls aged from 8 up to 15. They come in on a Thursday from 6 p.m.
You come in the door, pay your subs, usually about 10 to 6, everyone bit of catch up, what you do last night, this, that and the other. Then straight into your warm up, do your warm up, that's usually about 10-15 minutes. Then you break the class up into groups, adults, over 16s, under 16s and under 11s, basically something like that. And one group might go sparring, one group might do floor work, and another group might go on a jog, and then alternate that in the hour or the hour and a half what we have here. So change group from floor work, ring, core work, and everyone would do little bits and pieces, you know. The club has kind of helped me through life as well, because I used to be in trouble in the flats as a kid. I used to get up to mischief and up to all sorts, but by coming down the club, it's a kind of release for me. It helps me. Like to see the kids happy and like to see the kids doing well. My uncle was a coach, Brendan Ingle. He coached Prince Nassim, Hamid, he coached Harold Graham, Johnny Nelson, all them. So I kind of knew a bit about boxing, and my granddad was always telling me about boxing. And as a kid, I would have done just a small bit. I used to go up to a mate of mine, Peter Walsh's back garden. We had a shed he had. And I had old Brendan Ingle's gloves, an old set of leather gloves, and that's all we had. And we had a mattress that we used to tape up and hit that, and hit each other. The club has helped me a lot, you know, coming down here. Helps my head. I call it it's my medicine here every night, you know, coming helping the kids, you know. And helping me get on with my life and be a family man and help people along the way.
We're in a purple patch at the moment, you know. The club is going really, really well, you know, and I think, you know, in fairness, we're putting an awful lot of work in. You know, we really are putting an awful lot of work in. The coaches are full on, and same with the committee of the club. Like we're full on at the moment. Like we wouldn't be able to do this without help, you know, from you know, sponsors and, you know, other people, and, you know, we have Global Medics. And Ronan Corrigan, you know, they've been like phenomenal to us, you know, and they've really helped us, you know, and we wouldn't have been able to, we wouldn't have the success that we have today if it wasn't for the likes of Ronan in Global Medics or Dún Laoghaire at Down County Council. You know, it's been fantastic to us, you know, and the local businesses. Anytime we run shows, you know, if we get, you know, when we contact them for advertising and stuff like that, and, you know, sponsors and booklets and stuff, they always give us a dig out, you know. Only there this week, our local credit union in Monkstown Farm, they donated €900 to the club to order brand new T-shirts for 45 of the boxers, you know, and the coaches. You know, where would we be without this type of stuff, you know? And it's vitally needed, but you know, it's brilliant for us, you know. Yeah. Okay. We would love to have our own building, you know. That would be, you know, that's our dream, and we're striving all the time to get that, you know. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a long process, but we're working on it, you know, and we're constantly in talks with the council, and they've been great to us, you know. They've been absolutely great to us, in fairness, you know, and you know, that's our dream, and it's you know, it's down the line, but we'll keep working towards that, you know. In terms of results, we you know, as I said, we're in a purple patch at the moment, and we just keep going, you know, and we're going very well, you know, and we just keep going.